right? This is normal kidney, where all the parts have been described here. And if you see here, although I agree there are some pathological changes, minor pathological changes, but overall it is normal kidney. So considering this structure, you can see the glomerulus. This is the Bowman space, Bowman's capsule, the glomerular tuft of capillaries. These cells are present inside here. And considering this, can you see this picture?
Yes, sir.
Now this is amyloidosis in glomerulus. Amyloidosis in the kidney, in fact, and this hyaline structure, if you see here, this was the glomerulus. These are the tubules, and this glomerulus is not showing the diffuse deposits, but this is showing the prominent amyloid deposits here. Amyloidosis in the glomerulus, if you see here, this smooth hyaline structure are the amyloid deposits in the glomerulus. All right. This is a more clear picture where this glomerulus is completely obliterated by the amyloid deposits, you can see, and very few cells nuclei are seen here, very few. And in this one, the glomerulus is showing the earlier stage of amyloid deposits. You can see some part cellularity is more, and some part these hyaline structures have formed. We can once again compare the same with the original kidney. Can you see this? Original glomerulus, the normal glomerulus, and then compare with the amyloid affected glomerulus. All right. Now this glomerulus is also showing very large amyloid deposit, very large amyloid deposit, and you can also observe that there is fibrosis of Bowman's capsule. Fibrosis of Bowman's capsule. It has thickened. It has gone thickened, and it is having collagen fibers present in it. This is the part which is showing early depositions, and here the deposits have formed to the advanced stages. Now, if you remember, these are the epithelial hyaline, corpora amylaceae in the prostate gland. Corpora amylaceae in the prostate gland. This is carcinoma of prostate. One slide, and these are the remnants of the gland lumen. You can see very few, and most of the parenchyma has gone tumorous and has the fibrous connective tissue matrix. The gland alveoli are also abnormal, and some of them have turned cystic. Some of the gland alveoli have turned cystic, and they are showing presence of hyaline structures with concentric deposits. Hyaline structures with concentric deposits of the hyaline material over them. These are corpora amylaceae in the prostate gland. Corpora amylaceae in the prostate gland. This is the enlarged view. Can you appreciate that the deposits are concentric? Yes? Anybody please respond?
Yes, sir.
See, yes. Can you see there are layer after layer deposits of the hyaline material? This is the gland part. This was the dilated alveoli of gland, isn't it? And you can see there are layer after layer deposits of the hyaline material, corpora amylaceae in the prostate gland. And here we see corpora amylaceae in lungs. You can see here. Presence of corpora amylaceae in the lungs. These are not normal lung alveoli. These are somewhere broken. These are showing emphysema, and this is an emphysematous alveoli. This alveoli seems normal. The wall is not broken, it is of normal size, but this alveoli is emphysematous. You can see that there are some debris accumulation in the lungs also. Okay. And this emphysematous alveoli, one normal, one emphysematous normali, they are also showing the presence of the corpora amylaceae. Okay. Now here we see a normal lung, normal liver. In this liver you can see there are sinusoids, presence of sinusoids, the hepatic cords, the cells, the central vein, the portal triad, all present are there. And the sinusoids contain blood. Here you can see sinusoids contain blood. And this is fatty change in liver. Once again, if we compare both, you see the normal liver. It's a solid structure and only sinusoids are showing spaces. While in fatty change, if you see, there are development of vacuoles inside the liver parenchyma. These vacuoles are intracellular. These are intracellular vacuoles. We will see further. And you can see the normal parenchyma of the liver is totally gone. There is no normal parenchyma of liver. It is totally lost. Here you see this slide is very representative of the fatty change. You can see this cell is having, this is a single cell. Can you see this? Please respond. Can you appreciate this cell?
Yes, sir.
This is the nucleus, and this is the forming vacuole. This is the nucleus, and this is the forming vacuole. Okay. And here in this cell, you see vacuole is very large, and nucleus has turned into a crescent-shaped structure, flattened nucleus. You see here. In this case also, very large vacuole and nucleus is very small, compressed nucleus here. In this cell, multiple vacuoles are developing. These developing vacuoles later on merge and form a structure like this. Here also you see multiple vacuoles are developing in this cell, hepatocyte. This is even more clear. This is fatty change in human being because of alcohol abuse. Alcohol abuse led fatty change in the liver. You see large vacuoles here, large vacuole and nucleus pushed to the periphery. Large vacuole, nucleus pushed to the periphery. And other cells, some cells, this normal cell is showing numerous vacuoles inside the cytoplasm. Early stage, late stage, early stage, late stage, where these vacuoles actually merge and form a large fat containing vesicle. This is the appearance of fat under special staining. So this is oil red O. You can see the fatty deposit. This is done in the frozen sections, cryo sections only. The formalin fixed and paraffin embedded sections will not show this. All right. The formalin fixed, paraffin embedded sections, which we normally do H&E, they will not show anything. They will only show empty vesicle like this. These are empty vesicles in the formalin fixed H&E staining. They do not contain any fat, only empty vesicle is there. One more point is that, important point is that, if you see the vesicle is having very clear cut margins. It is not having any irregularity in the margins. Why? Because the interface of fat and water means cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is water solution. It becomes very clear because of the hydrophobic nature of fat. If you see fat vacuoles in the water, they will always either they will form film, or if they do not form film, they will have a perfectly circular structure in there. So this is the demonstration of fat by special staining. This is oil red O, and this is Sudan black, and both are done in the frozen sections, in the cryo sections, cryotomy. They cannot be demonstrated by normal formalin fixed paraffin embedded sections. Here we see hydropic degeneration in the liver cells, and it is very different from, if you see hydropic degeneration is an advanced stage of the cellular swelling. The sodium potassium pumps will fail, the sodium will enter inside the cell and will bring water with it, and when the water comes, the cytoplasm becomes hazy. The excessive water in the cell leads to cellular swelling. So that is the stage of cellular swelling. Now this is advanced stage. The water has entered so much that cells have started dying now. You can see this is a cell. This is a cell. This is a cell, and you see this cytoplasm is literally missing, and only some rough coagulated debris is appearing here in this. Here also you see large water vesicle is there, some remnant of hazy cytoplasm here also, and nucleus is also distorted. All cells show similar structure. Very soon these cells will burst, detach, and this whole structure will form into a fluid-filled vesicle, as we see in case of burns, or in case of FMD vesicles, or in case of shoe bite. Below the skin we will find formation of the blisters, what fluid-filled blisters. Okay, so this is a stage where the cytoplasm is totally distorted by presence of excessive water. Early stage of, not early stage but advanced stage of hydropic degeneration, and later these all will burst, merge, and form a vesicle. All right, this is hydropic degeneration. Especially vesicles are seen under the skin and the surfaces where the covering is strong enough to hold on to that cystic structure. Otherwise, this hydropic degeneration very soon will turn into necrosis in normal cells. You can understand that this is the next stage of the cellular swelling. All right. Now these are the diagrams of normal blood vessels. You can see the blood inside large blood vessel. The intima, media, adventitia, all are there. Artery and vein differentiation is there. This again normal blood vessels, blood, the intima, the tunica media, tunica adventitia, all are here. This is the normal blood vessel, and this is the fibrinoid change in the blood vessel. Fibrinoid change is actually a degenerative change, an inflammatory change in the blood vessels, where there is deposition of the plasma proteins on the blood vessels, including complement and fibrin also. There is definitely some fibrin, but it is not the major component. The plasma proteins, immunoglobulins, the complement all get deposited on the walls. From the blood, they will all get deposited on the walls, and they will initiate damage to the blood vessel walls, and also induce the inflammatory response. So consequently, the blood vessel will look like this. You see this. This used to be the lumen of the blood vessel. It is thrombotic. If you see here very clearly, there is formation of thrombus here. These are the RBC, and this is the thrombus. This is the thrombus, and these are the remnants of wall. And you can also appreciate that the thrombus, most part of the thrombus and the remnants of wall are indistinguishable. You cannot distinguish them. This used to be the wall of the blood vessel. You cannot appreciate intima, media, adventitia, anything here, and there is extensive infiltration by WBC here. Extensive infiltration. You can see whole area is inflamed. You can see this another small blood vessel. Extensive infiltration by the WBC. This is the fibrinoid change. Fibrinoid change. All right. Once again, you can compare with the normal blood vessel. This is the normal blood vessel. There are no WBCs around them. There is clear-cut differentiation between the various layers. And here everything is gone. There is aggregate of RBC and stuck inside a thrombus. The area necrotic where is thrombus, where is blood vessel, you cannot appreciate. You can see the fibrinoid deposits here, the hyaline fibrinoid deposits, and extensive infiltration by WBC leukocytes here. This is again fibrinoid change. You can see the blood vessel, the swollen endothelial cells, very much swollen endothelial cells, the hyaline deposit on the walls, hyaline deposits on the walls, and infiltration by the various WBCs and presence of other cells in the inflammatory cell. You can see inflammatory cells, presence of inflammatory cells on the wall of this vessel, on the wall of this vessel. This is another example of the fibrinoid change. Any doubt till now? Anything you want me to ask? Want me to tell you? You want to ask anything? Anything you want me to repeat here? Okay. Now this is once again normal kidney. You can see kidney tubules here. Kidney tubule. You can see the presence of nucleus, round nucleus here. This is faint nucleus. You can see, although it is normal kidney, but there will always be some pathological changes. You can see this faint nucleus, karyolysis undergoing nucleus. This is a pycnotic nucleus, vesicular nucleus. Okay, nucleus showing the clumped chromatin, clumping of chromatin, prominent nucleolus, vesicular nucleus with clumping of chromatin on the periphery of nucleus. Another pycnotic nucleus. Okay, but this is overall normal kidney, because some or the other change will be going on, because it is taken from a dead animal or slaughtered animal. Some here and there changes will always appear, but overall it is normal kidney structure. At least histology is more or less normal. Now here the kidney is showing the presence of the protein inclusions in the cytoplasm of PCT. You can see here there are the cytoplasm of the cell is showing presence of red dots here. Red dots here also. This is more clear. You can see nucleus and cytoplasm contains red dots. You can see here also. These are the protein inclusions in the, or hyaline protein inclusions in the kidney tubules. These occur when there is proteinuria, persistent proteinuria, and these also form in some newborn animals where the glomerulus is weak and proteins get released inside the kidneys, the filtrate, as well as the protein inclusions also form in the colostrum fed newborn enterocytes also form in the intestine, not in the kidney only, but in the enterocytes also. Okay, so these are the protein granules inside the kidney tubules, the tubular epithelial cells of kidneys, hyaline protein granules. You can see this is more clear. Now kidney itself is showing them some degenerative changes, but please understand this point. The presence of protein inclusion and the degenerative change in the kidney are two. Both of them are independent pathological changes. All right. In fact, these protein inclusions are not actually pathological change. They are response of body to retain as much protein as possible without their loss in the urine. You can see the epithelial cell and presence of red dots inside the cytoplasm. You can see here and presence of red dots inside the cytoplasm. This is the inclusion, protein inclusion, hyaline protein inclusions in the kidney tubules. All right. Then we come to mucinous change. Now you see here, these hazy cells are goblet cells containing mucus. These hazy cells are goblet cells containing mucus. Goblet is this. This is a goblet. A glass to drink wine or whatever they want to drink. In Western countries, they utilize this, and accordingly, they have named this these cells as goblet cells. If you see this cell, it appears as inverted goblet, and some cells will be in the upright goblet structure also. Okay, these are the goblet cells. They are basically cells are present down here. Then they will have a small mucus secreting duct-like structure and a upper structure from where the mucus is secreted. Like this, many goblet cells are seen like this. Actually, there will be a basic structure from where the mucus is produced. Then there will be a small duct-like structure, and then the main releasing structure, goblet cell. Many very commonly seen. These are the releasing structures what we see here. Okay. And mucinous degeneration, there is hyperplasia of goblet cells. If you see this epithelium, you find no other cells, very little, very few other cells, and that too in the base. Most of the cells are actually goblet cells. This area is literally covered by goblet cells. This is called the mucinous degeneration, or I can call it as catarrhal inflammation. Catarrhal inflammation of the mucosa. Catarrhal inflammation of the mucosa. No other epithelial cell, only presence of the mucin secreting goblet cells. And grossly, it will appear like this. This is the organ, say intestine or uterus or the respiratory passage, whatever it is. And here they have opened up the organ, and you can see the jelly-like mucus has come out. Jelly-like mucus has come out. Extensive production of mucus. It happens when we suffer from cold. Lot of thin slimy discharge comes from the nose. That is the catarrhal inflammation of the nose. Now this is the example of oh, can you see this or not?
Yes, sir.
This is the example of the Zenker's degeneration or muscular degeneration or hyaline degeneration of muscles. The gross appearance of the muscles, red meat, this is heart, but you see it is showing the white appearance. In vitamin E and selenium deficiency, this is very commonly seen, the fish flesh-like appearance of the musculature. The parts which are turning white are showing degeneration, and consequently the muscle will become painful, atrophied, and in case of heart will fail and the animal will die. It is very commonly seen in the selenium and vitamin E deficiency. You can see fish flesh-like appearance of the white fish flesh-like appearance of the musculature. Here, the large muscles are showing the white degenerative changes. In many places, it is showing. Okay, fish flesh-like appearance of muscles suffering from the vitamin E and selenium deficiency. This is normal cardiac muscle. You can see intercalated discs are there, fibers are there. Somewhere the evidence of nuclei are also there. Okay, the cross striated, or this is the normal skeletal muscle. You can see numerous cross striations and presence of nuclei here. Blood capillaries. You can see it is cross striated, isn't it? And this is the Zenker's degeneration, muscle hyaline. You find nothing here. You find nothing. The muscles have turned into a hyaline structure with no cross striations, no intercalated disc, no nothing. No. It is Zenker's degeneration of the muscles. This is another example. Muscle hyaline. Another staining is there. You can see that all cross striations are lost. Only a homogeneous pale structure is found instead of the normal muscle. Now this is connective tissue hyaline. The scar tissue, this is normal tissue. You have the appendages, the remnants of the hair and etc. You can see the hair follicle. And this is the scar tissue, and this is scar tissue will show the homogeneous structure. Scar tissue will not have any skin appendage, any skin associated structure. Nothing will be there. It is clear of everything. It is clear of everything. This is the scar tissue. You can see here skin appendages are, everything is present, but this is clear of everything. Now this is keloid, connective tissue hyaline. You can see that numerous, you can understand these are very thick structures. The connective tissue fibers are not this thick. So what happens is that actually there is extensive proliferation of connective tissue, and that proliferation has over the time merged. Those fibers have merged and formed these thick hyaline fibers. Thick hyaline structure, also called as connective tissue hyaline. Thick hyaline fibers, connective tissue hyaline. All right. Anything you want me to repeat?